The business side?
You know, I'm a kind of an anomaly in this world because my main source of income isn't from a video, but the result of having a viral video is one of the most unbuyable things that you can get as far as exposure goes. You know, I didn't make a single dime off my video because, for starters, it's all copyrighted material. So if I would have tried to make money off of those songs, it automatically would have put me in a position where someone probably would have said, hey, listen, we're going to sue you for a lot of money. If you know anything about songwrites, that world of songwrite is beyond effed up. I mean, beyond effed up. A minimum, every single song has a minimum of 2 rights holders, and it's a commodity that they sell off pieces of. So for example, I did do a second evolution to dance where I did secure the song rights for the songs that were in that video. The song Soulja Boy's song has 18 right holders. Wow. Okay, and you have to get permission from every single one of those right holders and write each one of them a different check depending on who owns what percentage, what they're asking for. There is no like structural, you know, I looked into getting the song Time Warp for it because it's an iconic dance, 50 grand to use it for a streaming video. So you're only getting streaming rights. So for me, I don't look at doing that. But from a speaking perspective, it's nice to say, oh, I have a video that has 195 million views. Oh, okay. So, you know, from my perspective, from a business perspective, I was doing about 100 shows a year before the video took off. So I was doing very well from that perspective. I was doing all that I could do. And so I was actually able to charge more and then work less. So I was able to cut back and say no a little bit more, which is one of the things that happens, you know, when you're a young artist of any sort, you're hustling and you're constantly doing everything and anything you possibly can. And if you are fortunate enough to have some success, you get to a point where you're able to pick and choose a little bit more and focus your energies on the things that you really feel are what you're passionate about and continue to move you in the direction that you want to go.
The business side.
The business side. It's I guess it's kind of tricky. It changed a lot. You know, I'm kind of old-fashioned. I thought when things blew up for me, I would try to have old-fashioned products like T-shirts and music that people could buy if they wanted, instead of, you know, just getting people to watch the video a lot. So that's kind of what kept me going. And then the rev share kicked in, and that was wonderful on top of that. And yeah, I mean, there's these companies now that are they're like studios, and they pool together YouTube talent. You may have heard of Machinima or The Collective. I'm with Maker Studios, and it's basically like, I don't know, like Columbia Pictures back in the 20s or something. It's a small company, but it's growing. And it's like I don't know, it's like old Hollywood kind of. Because it's like you get together with these other people and you make all the kind of stuff you want to make that the big studios would say no to. So that's what I'm doing now.
I think if it was Hollywood in the 20s, they would lock you into an ironclad contract that forced you to do a large number of movies that were all terrible, and you couldn't switch studios.
Do you have to do like 1,000 videos with my, I mean, you have to do 1,000 videos before
we
you
try
have
to
your
post a
contract.
video every week. So it's, what's that, 52 a year?
Yeah, that's...
Okay, so what's the most awkward or otherwise memorable interaction you've ever had with someone who has seen your video? So what is the strangest thing that's ever happened to you as a result of your video or your fame?
Probably the most unique experience. When you have a big viral video, a lot of opportunities happen. I'm sure you guys can both have gotten many requests for things that you look at and you just go, no. But with that comes the opportunity to go on TV shows, and I was fortunate enough to get to go on the Oprah show when they did an Oprah and YouTube when they first launched Oprah's channel, and I went up and I just performed a little tiny bit, and Oprah said off camera, like when it was done, she just looks at me and she's like, I don't know why that's funny. But hold on, wait. She goes, but it is. So it was just funny because she was very, and the other part of it was, you have to understand, she is a wonderful, wonderful woman, but you get the distinct feeling that whatever you do not upset her. Because I was sitting there and it was Chad and Ben, who never do interviews, who never used to do anything when it came to YouTube, who went on her show for the first time. Like, it was their first public appearance on a television show at all since Google had made the purchase and all this stuff. And so it was all this fanfare. And a surprise guest was on the show, and it was Patrick Swayze. It was the 25th anniversary of Dirty Dancing. They had brought this couple over from England who had reenacted the whole dance thing at their wedding, and everyone, and all that stuff. And they started doing their little dance, and he came out and surprised them, and then he was dancing with her, and it was fun. And during the commercial break, Ben and Chad look at Oprah, and they're like, oh, did you know that Patrick was going to be the surprise guest? And she just looks at him and goes, it's my show. Nobody surprises me. So that was definitely probably the most unique experience.
Whose turn is it?
Whoever wants to go.
You got
All
one?
right, I'll go. Okay. So, craziest thing that ever happened to me as a result of the video was a big part of what I do is getting to interesting places, and there are some places that are really, really hard to get to. And I've just finished making this new video, and I kind of focused in on those specific places. One of the ones on the top of the list is Saudi Arabia. It's a really hard country to get into if you're not Muslim. I mean, it's where you can go to Mecca. You need to be a Muslim, but if you're not, you can't really get a tourist visa or anything like that to go there. And I really wanted to go, and my goal is to go there, show people dancing, smiling, having a good time, just like people do everywhere else, which is not how we tend to see Saudi Arabia or hear about it. So I got this email from somebody who said, hey, you must come to Saudi Arabia. I can arrange for you to get in. And I thought, well, that's interesting. I don't hear that every day. And I said, well, what do you need for me to get in? He said, send me a scan of your passport. And so I did. I had it scan in. I emailed the guy the scan of my passport. My girlfriend, when I tell her this, she says, you just sent a scan of your passport to a stranger in Saudi Arabia. And I said, yeah. And the next day, I get a visa from Saudi Arabia, emailed back to me in a day. That doesn't happen. So again, my girlfriend's like, all right, I gotta Google this guy. We look him up, we find out, yeah, where this is going is where it's going. He was a sheikh in the royal family. It turns out there's like 5,000 people in the royal family of Saudi Arabia, but he was pretty high up there in the Saudi royal family, and he'd pulled some strings to get me in. So, all right, I booked my flight to Saudi Arabia. I go out there, plane lands, I walk off the plane, not in the, I mean, like at the door of the plane, not in the terminal, not at the gate, at the door of the plane. As I walk off, there are two guys standing there in Lawrence of Arabia robes, and they're holding a sign that says, "Where the hell is Matt?" And I'm traveling by myself, and I thought, this is going to be awesome. So I said, I'm Matt, and they said, come with me. They take me out of the whole terminal, the direction everybody else who's getting off the plane is going. I go a different direction, down a separate hallway into the VIP immigration lounge, which has these luxury couches, and you just hand somebody your passport and sit down, relax, have some tea, have some dates, and wait for your passport to come back. Comes back in a minute. They take me outside the airport to this whole separate area. They grab my bags. These two guys are doing everything, throw me in a limo, and they take me off to the Four Seasons in Riyadh. Great hotel. I never pulled out a wallet. It all just happened, and I kind of went like this and watched it happen around me. And then the next day, they come to pick me up, and they said, we're taking you to dance. All right. Everything's been arranged. Fahad is the guy who'd arranged all this. He's the guy who'd emailed me. I never met him. He wasn't there. He apparently was in Disney World with his family, but he had this all arranged while in his absence. So they took me out in the limo. We drove for like 45 minutes out into the Saudi desert, and this is Wile E. Coyote. That's exactly what it looks like, middle of nowhere. And we go out, and I see this tent, huge tent off in the distance. We pull off the road. We pull up to this tent, this campsite. They take me out of the car. I walk inside, and we're inside a tent, big, and there's like 40 guys, all in those same Lawrence of Arabia robes. It's called a thope, and they're all sitting there watching Oprah. on a big screen TV. And these are the dancers that Fahad has hired to do the traditional Saudi dance with me. And so I sit down with them, and we all watch Oprah together for a little while things get set up. They threw a bunch of rugs out in the desert. And then they come out, and they've got the thope and the shamal and the eshkigal. They've got the whole outfit for me, and they dress me up. They give me the sword. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen the dance. George Bush went to Saudi Arabia, and he did this dance where he put a sword on his shoulder and just kind of stands there and goes like this. Anybody seen that? It's like whenever they want to embarrass George W. Bush, they show that clip of him in Saudi Arabia.
Because they don't have many clips to.
So that's the traditional dance in Saudi Arabia. And so we went out and we stood on the rugs, and I set the camera up, and we did this for like 45 minutes. Because for this new video, I'm doing the dances in the places where I go to rather than just doing this over and over again. And we did that for 45 minutes, and then I finally went, okay, here we go. I'm going to try and get something that I can actually use here. And I worked up the nerve to teach them all Shuffle Off to Buffalo. If you've ever seen a Looney Tunes cartoon, it's the, Judson can probably do it better than I can, but it's like, hello, my baby, hello, my darling.
It's the frog. The frog was in the dance. He was in the top. Hello, my baby.
So I taught them Shuffle Off to Buffalo, and they're like, what is this? How do you do it? And I said, have you ever watched, Looney Tunes? They go, oh, yes, Looney Tunes. Yes, we know this. So I got this awesome clip. It's in the new video of all of us out in the desert in the robes going, hello, my baby, hello, my baby. And that was the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me as a result of that.
Liam, could you please work Oprah Winfrey into your
I was thinking about it. Oprah Winfrey gave me a free muffin. No. I guess not the weirdest, but the awesomest I'll go with is I met my wife while dressed as a teenage girl. I had the wig and lipstick and tights and I mean full on 16-year-old what girl, and I was performing. I was performing at I think it was a Halloween show in Los Angeles, and I got off stage and I saw this woman dressed as Marilyn Monroe, and I did a head snap to look at her, and I said, "What am I thinking? There's no way I'm going to approach her dressed like this and expect a phone number or anything." So somehow we started talking, and her friends.
Were you speaking in character?
What's that?
Were you speaking in character? I mean, did you explain why you were dressed as a teenage girl first?
She had just seen me perform. It was a big Halloween thing, and I did a couple songs on stage. It was like a club party monster thing. Anyway, she was with her two friends, and they were gay, and they were saying, he's gay. He's obviously gay. She's like, I don't think so. I think he was flirting with me. So she said, watch this, and she went back to me, and she's, oh God, I'm gonna screw it all up. She said, I've never wanted to make out with a woman before. And we've been married for 2.5 years, and there she is right there.
Did he get it right? Is that what he said? All right.